A young black teenager, bright smile, promising future, lying on the pavement, bleeding. Not because he was a criminal, not because he posed a threat, but because one officer, filled with hate, decided his skin color made him dangerous. Now imagine his father, an elite U.S. Navy SEAL, returning home to hear the news, his only son, gone, and just hours later. The entire neighborhood watches in shock as special forces surround the cop's house. This is not just a story about one tragedy. This is the story of racism in America, and you need to hear it all the way through, because the lesson it carries could save lives. The father and son, our story begins not with violence, but with love. Marcus Hayes was a Navy SEAL, 17 years of service. From Afghanistan to Iraq, from deserts to oceans, he had fought battles most men couldn't imagine. He had seen his brothers die, carried out missions the government would never admit to. He gave everything for his country. But Marcus's proudest mission wasn't overseas. It was at home, raising his only son, Jamal. Jamal wasn't just a kid. He was the reason Marcus survived the battlefield. Every letter Jamal sent him during deployment kept him alive inside. When Marcus finally retired, all he wanted was to spend time with Jamal, to give him a future he never had. Jamal was 17, star athlete, straight A student, dreaming of studying engineering. His laugh filled every room. His coaches said he could go pro. His teachers said he could go Ivy League. But to Marcus, he was simply his boy. A normal day turns deadly. It was a Friday afternoon in a quiet American suburb. Jamal left the house to grab snacks from the gas station around the corner. Hoodie on, headphones in, just like any teenager. But that's where everything changed. Officer Bradley, white, mid-40s, was sitting in his cruiser across the street. A cop with a history of complaints. Known in the neighborhood for stopping black kids, for fitting the description. When Jamal walked out of the store with a bag of chips and a soda, Bradley's eyes narrowed. To him, Jamal didn't look like a student, didn't look like a future engineer, didn't look like someone's son. He looked like a suspect. Bradley pulled up, lights flashing. "Hey, hands where I can see them." Confused, Jamal froze. He had nothing but a bag of snacks in his hands. "Sir, I didn't do anything." Witnesses would later say, Jamal's voice shook with fear, but he kept his hands visible. Bradley stepped out, hand already on his gun. "Don't move," I said. "Don't move!" Neighbors came out, recording with their phones, and in less than 15 seconds, the unthinkable happened. One shot, then another. 17-year-old Jamal Hayes dropped to the ground. Snacks scattered across the pavement. The news reaches his father. Back at home, Marcus was fixing the fence in the backyard when he heard his phone ring. "Marcus, it's Jamal. There's been an incident." By the time Marcus reached the hospital, it was too late. His son, his pride, his future, was pronounced dead. The Navy SEAL, who had dodged bullets overseas, now found himself staring at his boy's lifeless body. The strongest man in the room collapsed on the floor. And in that moment, Marcus Hayes broke. The aftermath and the cover-up. If the death wasn't enough, what came next poured salt on the wound. The police department quickly released a statement. Suspect appeared armed. Officer feared for his life. The weapon they claimed Jamal had? A cell phone. Videos from witnesses spread online within hours. Millions watched in horror as the truth unfolded. Jamal had been unarmed, hands up, complying. The community erupted. Protesters filled the streets, demanding justice. But the department doubled down. Internal affairs placed Bradley on paid leave. Paid leave. Marcus's grief turned into rage. He had fought terrorists overseas, but nothing prepared him for the terror of losing his son to racism at home. The father's breaking point. For days, Marcus sat in Jamal's room, staring at his pictures, smelling his clothes, reading old notes. He replayed the videos on social media again and again, tears mixing with anger. How can a man wear a badge sworn to protect and murder my boy? Then came the final straw. Bradley, the cop who killed his son, was seen at a local bar, laughing, drinking, bragging that he would walk free. Neighbors heard it. Word spread, and when Marcus heard it, something inside him snapped. The Navy. SEAL wasn't just a father in pain anymore. He was a soldier. And this was war. Special forces surround the house. It began quietly. Marcus made calls, not to lawyers, but to brothers in arms. Men who had served with him, men who trusted him with their lives. Within hours, black SUVs rolled into the neighborhood. Not police, not FBI, but Special Forces veterans. They weren't there to kill. They weren't there for revenge. They were there for justice. Word spread quickly. The Navy SEALs unit has come back for him. Bradley, the cop, woke up to find his street surrounded. Armed veterans in tactical gear stood silent. No shouting, no chaos. Just the kind of discipline only soldiers carry. Neighbors watched from their porches, phones out, recording. For the first time, the cop who thought he was untouchable felt fear. The standoff Bradley called the station. "Get back up, they're here for me." But the department hesitated. This wasn't a gang. This wasn't protesters. This was the United States military elite. If they moved wrong, it would be a bloodbath. From the crowd, Marcus stepped forward, unarmed. No mask, no helmet, just a grieving father. He stood in the middle of the street, looking Bradley dead in the eyes. "You killed my boy. You murdered a child. My child." Bradley tried to shout back, voice cracking. I thought he had a weapon." Marcus's reply was simple, chilling. The only weapon he had was his skin. Silence fell. The crowd of neighbors nodded, some crying, some clapping. The weight of his words hung heavy in the air. Justice begins. The standoff didn't end with bullets. It ended with truth. Under the pressure of the veterans, the media, and the community, the district attorney had no choice. Bradley was arrested, charged with second-degree murder. For once, a cop who thought he was above the law would face trial. Marcus didn't want revenge. He wanted accountability, and, more importantly, he wanted change. The lesson. The Tease story of Jamal spread far beyond his city. Hashtags trended. News outlets debated. Lawmakers argued. But at its core, it was never about politics. It was about humanity. A boy was killed for being black. A father had to bury his son while wearing the medals of a country that couldn't protect him. And a community had to rise up, louder than the lies, stronger than the system. Marcus said it best at his son's funeral. "My boy fought no war. He carried no gun. His only crime was living." In Skin, America Fears. If my years of service mean anything, then hear this. Never let Jamal's death be just another headline. Let it be a turning point. Closing, emotional punch. And so, when you hear the title, Racist Cop Shoots, Black Navy SEAL's Son. Hours later, special forces surround his house. Know this. It's not just a story about one family. It's a mirror, a reflection of the pain many families live with every day in this country. This story demands more than tears. It demands change. Because until racism ends, until accountability is real, until fathers no longer bury their children because of the color of their skin, we are all living in a war zone. So the question is, when will America finally fight for its own?